the first part, we talked about a revision cycle where we discussed how we have to maintain a small diary and how we have to write what we are doing. But before that, I have to revise whatever I have done yesterday, a week before, and a month before. It will always help me to stay with whatever I have done already, right? So it helps me memorizing it. It helps me actually in the exam, right? So this is called as true revision. But then one more question arises, and that is, okay, sir, like we have to revise it 3 times. So does that mean that we have to read it again and again? Like for example, say I have, I'm reading something today, and then I'll be reading the same thing on the next day, and that's the revision. Is it fine? Absolutely not. We need to understand that when we think of revisioning anything, it needs to be in different styles, because our sole purpose is to make sure that, as I already told you, it should stay with me. I should be able to remember it whenever I'm actually facing a question related to it, or even I'm not facing a question, and if I want to really use that part in paper 2, I should be able to remember it, right? For that, we need to make sure that it stays here. At least whenever I read something about it, or at least try to think about that topic, it should come quickly to me. So there are 3 various methods with which you can revise. There are 3 very simple methods, right? In fact, one of them you know very well, right? But we don't use it often. And even though we use it like different scenario. I'll tell about that. So the first thing, the simple thing to revise is, so reading it again is never an option in case of revision. Okay. So for example, if you are revising it on the next day, right, it is always better to hand over whatever you have read to someone in your family, maybe your brother, sister, or your friend maybe with whom you are preparing, and telling that person to ask you questions, right? Now see, for example, if you think that it is not possible to do that every day because people are not available or there are other stuff that is creating hurdle in that, then there is one more way. Say for example, what you can do is, you can just take down a page, a blank page, take a pen and start writing. Say for example, if I want to revise polity, right? So I have studied fundamental rights yesterday. I did not study all of them. I just studied article 14 to 19, for example. So I really want to revise. What were the details of those stuff. Now I studied them thoroughly. Now I think that I really want to revise them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a blank page. I'm going to take a pen. I'm going to write on that pen. Okay. And I'll write everything that comes to my mind on its own. See, now at that point, there is no support from any side. Okay, I am just writing it on my own. I have to stretch myself. Like I'll keep on writing every point that I can remember. Whenever I feel exhausted, like no, there is nothing which I think is there, I almost written everything. Then what you have to do? Then you have to stop it, open your book and try to, or whatever source that you have read from, and try to compare. Okay, this I covered. Oh, this I covered, but this was not here. This was here. You will find your own mistakes, which happens actually in exam. I read something at this location and it is in this context, but I remember it in some other context, which is called as confusion in exam. And it happens in exam with many of us. Sir, I have remembered that, but it was with something else, but I remembered it here, so I made a mistake, right? So whatever mistakes you are going to do in the exam, do it here only. So take a blank page, write with a pen and write whatever you write, remember. And it need not to be in one like line by line or one after another. It can be anything, because anything can come to your mind at first place, not sequentially it comes, right? So just keep on writing the way it comes to you. Write it, compare it, then you will realize ki, oh, this is very simple thing but I forgot, this was a complex thing but I still remembered, so this is now fixed, I'm good at this, okay, I have to remember it point, but this is simple thing I missed, I have to again revise it, I have to again tell myself that, okay, I have to remember this, right? So this way you write on your own and you compare it with whatever you have done, right? Then, so we have discussed two things. First is like handing whatever you have done to someone else and asking that person to ask you questions. It will help you to actually, because, and ask that person to ask critical questions on whatever you have read. So you realize your worth, that okay, have you done it really seriously or not? Okay, this is one thing. Second is this, what we have discussed, that you have to take a blank page and you have to write it. The third is very simple, we already know, and that is solving mock test. As many mock tests we solve, especially the sectional test in the first part of preparation. Later you have to solve full size or full subject or full length test, right? The more mocks we solve, the more chances of us getting selected for physical and medical and for entry. Because we have to practice what actually we have to do on the exam day. That's what mock tests are for. They are not for getting very good marks and feel confident. You might get very less marks. Then just analyze it. Okay, just analyze it and analyze the whole question paper and answers. We'll discuss it in next video, how to analyze whatever we solve. That's a very important thing that we often not do, which needs to be done, right? We just solve a question paper, we check which are right, which are wrong, we get the marks, we feel either good or bad, and then we just leave it at that and we just start doing whatever we want to do. That is not good. But we will talk about this in a separate video, how to deal with a question paper that you solve. But solving mock test is the third way to revise, and it is very, very, very important. So either get interviewed by someone or take a blank paper and write down whatever you remember, and you can use all these methods whenever you want to revise, on the next day, after a week, after a month, according to you plan. But these are the methods with which you revise. Reading again is not a method. Close your book, write on your own, and then compare. This is called as revision. Because taking the help of a book to read itself is a support system, which you don't have in the exam, right? So without using the book, without reading the book, you have to revise. That is called as revision. When you solve mock test and you could not answer a lot of questions, then go back to book and then read. Then you will feel like reading it. Because you have not answered some of them, you are guilty and you are thirsty to get that back again with you. This helps. So this is how you should revise. So revision cycle and these methods of revision will help you to become a better candidate, right? Just tell me how this methodology helped you in remembering things in the comment section, right? And if anything you want more from me, definitely we'll make a video on it, right? Thank you very much. All the very best.